What was the next step in your export strategy once you deemed that was working?
Once we'd sort of worked out that we could export, had the systems in place, I guess, the freight forward company that was very useful, decided to look at the United States. It's obviously a very big market. Had a number of contacts in the US who said the product would do well and they'd taken the product over. And so from there, I guess it was really a matter of phoning up a lot of stores in the US, much the same that we did with New Zealand, and just finding out what products they were interested in.
And what happened then?
It started to be a bit more of a project at that stage. Decided that it was really a market that we wanted to target. So
because you need a lot of money to get into the US.
Yes and no. Like, I think there's different ways of getting into the US, and we decided that it was going to be just doing cold calls on a lot of stores and sending them samples of the product that we had. And, you know, it really, at the end of the day, it would cost $30 or $40 just to target one store, but they got to see the product, they got to feel the product, and it was quite successful. We picked up a couple of stockists just by doing that. And it was really, I guess, that encouragement that then I decided to invest in a stand at a trade show, and that's what we did late last year.
What's different about their market?
Very flamboyant in the US, we found.
But your swimwear's pretty flamboyant.
Yeah.
Not enough.
But then just in terms of the style as well, I mean, they seem to less is more in the US, and so it's just a matter of tailoring the colours and the styles to the different market. And Australia really is quite different to the US in terms of, from a design perspective, what they like in swimwear. So that's one thing that we've really worked on, is to create a product that's more tailored to the US market.
What mistakes did you make going into the US market?
You know, some stores you're not sure what sort of shop you're dealing with. So there was a couple of stores that we contacted, and you know, they probably weren't right for the product, and you're very generous at the start in terms of putting your name out there and offering your product to people. Perhaps you know, sometimes you've got to have a little bit more caution when someone says that they're really interested in taking your product on. So it's a fine line, I guess, between really trying to get into the market but then being careful about who you deal with as well.
To go to that next level where you're not just supplying from here, would you have to set an office there? What's the next?
Look at getting a distributor in the United States, and I don't think, I'm not at that stage yet. Probably one more season away from looking at a distributor. Just having a customer base to start with is probably the most important thing, and then finding a distributor who's going to really, you know, present the product the way you want it to be presented. I mean, the image of the brands is very important to me, so you just want to make sure you find the right person to do the job.
What other countries are you targeting?
It's interesting. You know, it takes a bit of time when you've only got 4 staff that we have here to really work out which markets to target next, just based on the time that you have to try and deal with Australia and then also building into the US. So at this stage, we're probably going to just try and build on the US market. We have a big response to our product in France. That's probably the next market that we want to target.
If you had to give some tips to small business about exporting, what would they be?
I think the most important thing is to just do your own groundwork, find out exactly what you can about the country that you're looking to export to before you approach other businesses, other government organisations for advice. I think it's very important to just develop your own understanding of the market, so you know, firstly, the questions that you're going to ask if you go to Small Business Victoria, if you go to Austrade, to start asking them questions about the market. I think you need to have a pretty good understanding about what you want to achieve, how your product's going to fit into that market, just the price point of the market that you're going to look into. I think those were the most important things for me to start with.